Happy Wednesday. We are talking about the new year. We've been looking a little bit at this last week as we were wrapping up Hosea, and then all this week talking about how do we begin with the end in mind. This is a point, one of the habits that Steve Covey made famous in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So he actually did his doctoral work on success literature. And I'm a little bit skeptical of success literature. There's a whole lot of, Barnes & Noble, or I guess now I should say Amazon, it's got a huge number of self-help books, like many self-help books. There's often some insight there. I think that there is. And sometimes what we just need is a little bit of motivation, encouragement, just a kick in the backside. But a lot of it is sort of tricks and hype. What Covey noticed is that when you look at success literature in the United States over the years, that early on it was all about sort of becoming the right person and qualities that you would do, and then the last, more recently, it's all about how to buy a house with no money down and sort of much more light, sort of fluffy stuff. So he sort of went to the more weighty stuff, and he discerned what were the habits. What are the patterns? What are the practices of people that are highly effective? And there's still some limitations there, but there were some very helpful insights, and some of them, of course, lined up with what I would call biblical common sense, or sometimes it's the book of Proverbs. But one of the points is, you need to consider the end. When you're building a tower, you need to think about the foundation. You need to think about how these things are going to play out over time. It's certainly a big theme in the book of Proverbs. So we also have this message in this lesson being unfolded in the Bible when we look at all the people who start well but finish poorly. And because of a handful of things that, it's not an infinite number of things that upend us. It's a handful of things that we just simply can't seem to get past. And so I just want to briefly set before you the kinds of things that could undo us in 2021. One, hit on this recently, a lack of knowledge of God, knowing God, and intimacy with God, right? I've said enough about that. The second thing is going to be sin. And there's some categories here. So one category of sin that I think we're seeing a lot more of recently are addictions of all different types. And addictions is somehow it's sin on drugs. And so the sin ends up, it's like an idol, takes more and more, gives less and less. Not all sins are addictions, not all sins become addictions, but sin is the wrong path. And if we stay on that path long enough, we always end up a lot further in the wrong direction than we ever had wanted to. So they can come to control us. A third thing that holds us back, the Bible talks about, is laziness. Certainly this is a big theme in the book of Proverbs. Just a lack of diligence and a lack of doing the right thing. And interestingly, one of the 7 deadly sins is the sin of sloth, which the desert fathers who came up with this didn't actually understand it to be sleeping in, although there is sort of a laziness. Sometimes they called it the noonday cedia. They talked about it being something, after a big lunch, you can feel slothful. So there is that side of it. But a lot of it was just being busy with things that were not of ultimate importance. And so it was just the frenetic activity or the nonstop go of entertainment and other things that keeps us from thinking about the things that matter most. The last two, one of them might surprise you, the other one won't. But one of the things that I think undoes us the most, and as a pastor, I'm always concerned when I hear, not when somebody loses a job, but when somebody gets a promotion. Now, honestly, it's easier to get the promotion, and I want you to get the promotion, but I know that spiritually speaking, Hardship, trials, setback, failure is often a lot. It can be better for us than success. Success can keep us occupied and thinking that we are going to be more self-sufficient than we are. So success can be something that undoes us. And then another big category, just talking as a pastor here, that I see that holds people back spiritually speaking is a failure to forgive, an unwillingness to go there. And forgiveness is an act that has to be granted before it's felt. And so I'll just note, as we're thinking about how to begin with the end in mind, we want to remove the obstacles. And so the obstacles of sin, the obstacles of addiction, the obstacles of laziness, obstacles of success, and obstacles of an unforgiving heart. So we want 2021 to be a good year spiritually. So I want to encourage you to think and reflect in your own life about which of these you might need to focus on. Have a good day.